Hello, Cowboys fans. As promised, here is my thoughts on the Cowboys for you. Okay, so I don't know where I want to start, but let's start with Dak Prescott. Okay, this Dak Prescott thing has been all over the internet, everywhere. It's exploding. There's a lot of different opinions going around about it. Some of them are true, some of them are off the wall. You decide after I decide, kind of a deal going on. So, anyway, what I can tell you is, this morning I was watching a video by Mark Holmes, okay? Mark Holmes. Look him up on YouTube. He does Dallas Cowboys. That's basically his whole channel, Dallas Cowboys. And he did discussion about Dak Prescott and the whole deal. And he had a lot of interesting information that you haven't heard anywhere else, I'd guarantee you. So go ahead and check out his video if you haven't yet. It's very, very informative. I might even link it down in the description because it was that good. But without further ado, let's get on to my thoughts on the whole deal. So, Dak Prescott, I mean, he's been in this, 4 years? Something like that. He's a good quarterback, okay? He's not, I don't feel like he's the best. I mean, obviously. But I have to say, he's pretty good. And I'm pretty impressed with him. I would say, I don't know about this deal, though. I don't know. I definitely don't think they should franchise tag him. I am definitely dead set against that because I feel like it's just going to create a lot of tension. And I think it's time to make a firm decision on do they want Dak or do they want somebody else. And as far as the Tom Brady debate, okay, Tom Brady is a free agent, yes. Tom Brady is a really good quarterback, yes. Tom Brady's old, okay. He's an old man. And I don't feel like putting the kind of money that Dak wants down on Brady is a good idea. For several different reasons. First of all, a point that Mark Holmes brought up in his video. Brady, obviously he's old, as I said, but it's going to take him so long to get in the swing of things, alright? To get used to how the Cowboys operate and all that. And who knows with Brady, he could be out tomorrow. He could be sacked and that could be the end of his career. So you just don't know. It's a big risk. It's a lot of money putting down on somebody who you're probably not going to have more than 2 years if everything goes good. It's just not a good decision. I think I've been kind of back and forth on this. I don't really like Dak Prescott. I don't dislike him, but he's just not, he doesn't do it for me, you know? So I've been back and forth on what should be done with it. I'm almost, I'm split down the middle because it's like, as far as his money goes, and Mark Holmes explained this in his video, but that's a whole deal in itself. I mean, the money thing, it's like, and Jerry Jones, okay, he likes this. This turmoil that's being stirred up, okay? He must, because he's done this. We saw it back in the day with Emmitt Smith. I mean, I didn't see it. I wasn't alive, but I know about it, okay? So, he's done this a lot with a lot of different players. And honestly, I don't know why. Like, Mark Holmes brought up in his video that it could be because it's all the free publicity. I don't know. It's like back in the 90s. The Cowboys were unstoppable with Jimmy Johnson as the coach. Completely unstoppable. And here it is. Okay, Jimmy Johnson has made the team what it was. Jimmy Johnson wins those Super Bowls. Back-to-back Super Bowls. Well, what does Jerry Jones do? He unloads him. Okay. Now, I've seen a lot of different interviews talking to Jimmy Johnson about the whole deal and him saying, well, I never stayed anywhere longer than a couple of years. I was ready to move on, da da da. I'm not completely sold on that's what happened. But either way, it gave me a kind of a bad vibe about the Jerry Jones thing. I feel like he's all over the place with the team. So, this Dak Prescott thing, I don't know. He's obviously got the money to pay him. So, if they really wanted him, wouldn't they have contracted him? I don't know, because, well, there again, it's all raveled up and it's a whole deal, and I don't know. I don't know all there is to know about it. It's just my thoughts. But my thought is, I think it, as hard as it is to say, I think if it was me, I think I would let Prescott go. And that might be a bad decision. I don't know, because there again, I don't know all the inner workings. But I feel like Prescott's pushing his luck here some. I don't know. It's like, I mean, he's good. There's no doubt he's good. But I just don't know. And it's not just the money. It's like, can we do better? You know what I mean? I mean, the Cowboys have had a rough time for a long time now. Well, 25 years. But I don't know. I keep leaning towards why don't they take a chance on somebody fresh, somebody new face, and I don't know, because that's a gamble too, but if they could find somebody good, straight out of college, and they could I've heard Mike McCarthy, okay, his thing is quarterbacks. I heard this in a couple different interviews that they had, and that's his strong point, working with quarterbacks. So I keep thinking, if they keep Dak, is Mike McCarthy really going to be the answer? Is he really going to bring Dak to the front and make Dak, what he should be? And there again, I don't know the answer to that either. And then I think, what if they bring somebody from college? Okay, and they bring him in, somebody fresh, new face. They let Mike McCarthy work with him, and he's a blank slate, right? I mean, he's got whatever influences he had in college, but other than that, he's a blank slate. Mike McCarthy's got a blank canvas to work with. So there again, I don't know. And some have mentioned, what about if they contracted Brady, brought Brady in, and just had him work with Dak? If they got both, got Brady as the backup quarterback, and just had him try to rub off a little bit on Dak with some of his techniques and different things. I think that's a lot of money putting out there on that. That seems like way too much money. So I don't really know with that how that all would work. But I think it's time to really take a look at the team and make some tough decisions. And I don't know if Jerry Jones is just playing some sort of a game here, or if he really has an idea of what he wants to do. As far as, that's about what I have to say on the Dak Prescott thing, because that is an entangled mess of so many different sides and ways it could go. I think I would be leaning towards new blood, though. My gut. I'm going with my gut here. It doesn't make full sense to go with new blood because Dak is good. He's been there. He knows the game. But at the same time, I don't know. So anyway, I'm gonna drop that right there because that's a big deal that I don't even want to get into fully. But like I said, go ahead and watch Mark Holmes' video on that. That is probably the best video I've seen on the Dak Prescott deal. So anyway, aside from all of that, what do I think about the current Cowboys? I think the Cowboys, as far as the players go, this is the first thing when I got back into football and all that. I started looking at the Cowboys. I expected to see a team that had no good players, a team that was falling apart, And I was surprised to find that they've got some of the best players in the NFL, and that that shocked me. So the question is, was the problem Jason Garrett? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say because there's so many factors that go into all this. But it would make someone wonder if Jason Garrett wasn't the problem. We're going to see Mike McCarthy, obviously, now as head coach. So, and I mean, he's great in Green Bay. And we all know Green Bay is one heck of a team. And Green Bay pretty much always has been one heck of a team. Uh, yeah, so that has promise. I'm really excited to see what he does. And he's changed all the coaching staff out. And he's got guys from the 49ers and some really good guys in there. So I think you're going to see big changes with that. We're really excited to see what he can do. Uh, Defensively, I don't know much about how the Cowboys did this past year defensively, but there again, that's one of Mike McCarthy's deals. Okay, defensive coach. All right, he'll take care of that. So I think you're going to see them come to the front defensively. And I mean, that's half the game right there. You get your defense together. I mean, even if they struggle offensively, if they can get the ball downfield and they can shut the other team off, you know. So we'll see what happens. But now, looking back, let's go ahead and take a moment and look back. What made the 1990s Cowboys? Well, there's 5 people. Now, a team, okay, a team wins because of the whole team. Obviously, they work together. Okay, but there you have your strengths in your team, and there was 5, in my opinion, 5 people on that Cowboys team in the Cowboys realm, I should say, not just the team that made the '90s Cowboys what they were. And of course, the first, obviously, is Jimmy Johnson. Okay, he was a coach and a half. He really pulled the team together from shambles, and I don't know how he did it, but something with the way he coached seemed to click with the team. So, obviously, the coach is a big part of the team. We already knew that, but they need somebody who can bring some magic. Somebody who can give the players the confidence they need and have that confidence be well founded. With a lot of hard work, a lot of practice. Okay? So that was one guy. Number 2, okay? These aren't necessarily in the order of importance. They kind of will be, though. Number 2, Troy Aikman. Now, Troy Aikman, okay, I have a soft spot for Troy Aikman, okay? I'm a big fan. I am a big fan. I regret that was not born earlier so that I could have seen him in his prime because watching their old games and stuff, I mean, he's good. He's got the magic, all right? So, Troy Aikman, I mean, he could whip it. He could snap the ball out there. And something that makes a good quarterback is when they can snap the ball out there and they can do it with laser accuracy. And he could do that. He was one of the best gunslingers, okay, in the NFL. Dak Prescott seems to be pretty good, too. I mean, I can't say he's an Aikman, because I don't think he's any Troy Aikman. But he can snap the ball out there pretty good, and I think he's got pretty good percentages and completion and stuff. I think he's promising. So we'll see what happens there. But I think quarterback-wise, if they stayed with Dak, I don't think he's the best, but I think they're all right there. And I think coach-wise, they're great with Mike McCarthy. I think. We'll see what happens. But Green Bay and defensive, and he works with quarterbacks, that's exciting for me. Okay? So there's 2 guys that made the team, right? Third guy, you all know who's coming now. Emmitt Smith, all right? Emmitt Smith, there again comes the word, okay, he was magical, all right? Most running backs, they can either run really fast in a straight line, or they can dodge really good. Emmitt Smith was blistering fast, and he could dodge like crazy, and break tackles like crazy, and jump like crazy, and everything. And it all came together in a way that's undescribable, really. I mean, if you haven't seen Emmitt Smith, number one, I don't know how you'd be a Cowboys fan and have not seen Emmitt Smith. If you haven't seen Emmitt Smith, you better pause this video and go watch Emmitt Smith's career highlights, because it will blow your mind. So right now they got Ezekiel Elliott, okay, and I think he's good. I mean, he's really good. I think he has potential, big potential. I think he has potential probably that hasn't even been fully unleashed yet. I think Ezekiel Elliott is gold for the Cowboys. I mean, that's where it's at. And something we have to remember about the Cowboys is the Cowboys pass the ball. Yeah, they did that a lot because you got to, you know what I mean? Especially against strong defensive teams, which sometimes against strong defensive teams, if you pass it, it gets intercepted. So it goes either way. But anyway, the point is that every team has kind of a flow through history, you know, a style to them. And the Cowboys have always been a running team, all right? They've stuck with it, and they have always been a running team. Probably one of the top running teams, I would dare to say, all right? I think it's important that the Cowboys not lose sight of that. I want to see, when I watch the Cowboys play, I want to see Ezekiel Elliott pounding that ball down the field. Even if he's getting pummeled and he's only making a couple yards, I want to see him running that ball. I want to see him attempting to run that ball, and I want to see them breaking that up with a lot of running plays, because that's who the Cowboys are, and they have the running back to do it. Tony Pollard, he's great, but he's no Ezekiel Elliott, because from what I've seen, Tony Pollard's one of them guys who can blister in a straight line, but he just doesn't have that dodging, ducking, darting ability that Ezekiel Elliott has. So I think he's a great kind of backup running back, but I think Ezekiel Elliott's where it's at. I mean, obviously, Tony Pollard has his place, but I think for overall, Ezekiel Elliott's the man. So I'm really impressed with that, and I think he's going to be the bread and butter for the team, and if they let him go, they'd be crazy. So, anyway, so we've got 3 guys we've talked about. Number 4, okay, Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin could catch anything, okay? Anything. If the ball was even near him, he was going to catch it. With or without having full chance to get ready for it. If he had to throw his arms out in front of him, he was going to catch it. If he had to jump, he was going to catch it. All right? Wide receivers, and this is another obvious point, but wide receivers are everything, people. If we don't have wide receivers that are good, we're in trouble. Now, I don't know a lot about the wide receivers they have. I know they have Jason Witten, and he's getting to be up there, I think, in the age. I don't know how much longer he'll be with the team. I'm hoping he'll stick with the team. I think he's a really good receiver. There again, I don't know as if he's as good as Michael Irvin, but he's a very good receiver. As far as the other receivers go, I haven't really heard a lot about them. I haven't done a lot of research. I'm assuming they're not phenomenal, or I would have heard about them by now. You know what I'm saying? So I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to start working in some young blood for wide receivers, getting some new faces in there, and maybe using some draft picks for that too. Uh, so that's another option. But wide receiver, that's a big deal. Got to have some wide receivers. We're good. We're really good. Now, a wide receiver, within reason, is only as good as his quarterback. So that comes back to Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott's only as good as his wide receiver. Now, I've heard a lot of interviews with Dak talking about Jason Witten and all that, and they seem to work really well together. And Jason really pushes Dak to make sure that they can keep working well together. So that's something to keep in mind. I mean, we got to get some. I think we got to get some new guys in there though, because Witten's not going to be around for forever. So now the last and final guy, okay, that makes the team, and I don't know. It seems like he's overlooked a lot, but he was dynamite. Okay, Larry Allen, and obviously he was an offensive like guard for the Cowboys in the '90s. Strongest man in the NFL, bench press 700 pounds. I mean, he's a big boy. Uh, what was he like 325, 6'3" or 4" maybe. So yeah, he's a he's a big boy. There again, if you haven't seen Larry Allen, you better go watch some Larry Allen videos. But he made Emmitt Smith's running game. There's no doubt about it, because he stopped defense in their tracks and gave Smith the chance to run the ball like he did. So there again, offensive linemen, okay, are as important. So it's like you have everybody's like, oh my gosh, you got to have a quarterback. The team's no good without a quarterback. Oh, it's got to be the greatest quarterback. All right, there's a lot of things that people miss. Okay, like your quarterback's only as good as your wide receiver, and he's only as good as your offensive lineman, because if the defense gets through and sacks the quarterback every time, it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is. He can't throw the ball when he's laying on the ground hanging on to his ribs, okay? So it comes back to they need to really spend a lot of time, I think, this year blending. They've got the players. I think they've got the players. They need to do a little tweaking, a little swapping maybe. But I think they've got their main players down, packed. Really good players, really good guys, work well together. I think they need to Mike McCarthy needs to take some time and really work on getting them pulled together, in a powerful way. And I think that comes with personality of coach. You got to have a lot of courage and a lot of confidence. Coach can't be just an average guy. He's got to be somebody who's so confident that it's almost to a downfall, but not, I mean, even if he himself within himself is not that confident. I mean, he's got to be confident. He needs to make his players feel that he's got no doubts about him. And he needs to make other people feel like he's got no doubts about his team. Because that builds them teammates together. And that pushes them, because they're trying to achieve, because they don't want to disappoint the coach. So that alone will push them and to be better. So that's a big part. Okay, we talked about your key guys. That's a big part. Defensive, offensive, all that. That's a big deal. I'd like to see some more interceptions by the Cowboys. And I'm not sure what all they need to do to really get that down. But I'd like to see them really pouring the pressure on the other teams and really getting some interceptions in there. I mean, this year, it was a bad year, okay? 8-8, that's not a good year. And the worst part was almost every game they lost this year was by one touchdown. you want to talk about hard on the team. I mean, that's tough. That's really tough. And I don't know. You know, it's like they asked Dak in an interview. They said, "What would you change about your games? I mean, if you could do it again different, what do you think the reason is that every game you lost was by one touchdown?" He said, "If I knew, we would have won them." You know, so it's like I think that's where Mike McCarthy comes in again, because he's got to really work with them and try to figure out these issues, and where he was a defensive coach, that opens up a whole other world, okay? Because he's going to be tightening up that defense and tightening up everything. And maybe we're going to start getting to see finally some interceptions and some pouring the pressure on defensively. Because I feel like I said, I don't know a whole lot about recently, but I feel like it could use some improvement. I definitely do. So that's another thing. And now let's talk about Troy Aikman here and now. Okay, Troy Aikman. Several things. First of all, in an interview, like a month ago, maybe a couple months ago, they interviewed Troy, and they asked him about the Cowboys, and they asked him about what his thoughts were on why they hadn't won a Super Bowl since 1995. And this is what he said, direct quote. He said, "Why the Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl since 1995 is a head scratcher. I mean, for an organization that says no one wants to win more than they do, how do you not win?" Well, it makes sense, because that's the thing. The Cowboys were on top, and they have everything going for them. Okay, they have Jerry Jones, who's got money, hand over fist money, coming out the yin yang. And it's like, why haven't they won? They got no excuse. I mean, they do and they don't. You know, it's like they shouldn't be. Hang on, the phone's ringing. Okay, I'm back, guys. So, where was I? Okay, anyway, so for an organization that has so much money, why haven't they won? And I was saying how, I think I was saying how, oh yeah, so a team doesn't have an excuse to not win. That's what I was saying. And I was going to say that they do and they don't. It's like you can only be as good as you can be as a team, obviously. And there's always going to be somebody better or close to being better who will be better next time, you know what I'm saying? So it's a ongoing battle, but we should have at least seen the Cowboys be making the playoffs and championship games, and you know, I'd like to see the Cowboys close, like at least knocking on the door of the Super Bowl, not standing outside in a raincoat, okay? So I don't know. It's like, why haven't they? And it comes down, Troy Aikman's been laying a lot of trash on Jerry Jones. And I think in some ways, probably rightfully so. Uh, it's hard to say, because I don't know, you know, how much is Jerry and how much is just the way things go. But I feel like Jerry Jones definitely isn't the best owner. I I don't know if he just fights the guys. I don't know. I don't know. But it definitely seems like him being, you know, I don't know. But Troy Aikman has wanted to be general manager of the team. And Jerry Jones won't have it. But this confuses me, okay? Because we all know that if they were to grab the old Cowboys, get Troy Aikman in there, get him general managing the team, he knows a lot about the team, And if you watch him interviews from back in the day, his teammates will tell you there's nobody who wants to win more than Troy Aikman. I think Troy would be a big asset to the team. Get him in there, get him working with Dak, okay? Get him working with everybody. All right, he knows how things go. He knows the way it rolled. He knows the way it rolled under Jimmy Johnson. Okay, that's a big asset. Why haven't they got the old Cowboys in there? Why haven't they called up Emmett and said, hey, get down here and work with Zeke? Well, you know what? I don't understand it. I don't understand how it all works. And there seems to be this rift between Jerry Jones and Aikman. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because Jerry Jones can Jimmy Johnson. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But I don't know. It's tough. I know when they got rid of Jimmy Johnson, everything started going downhill. Barry Schweitzer, yes, he took him to a Super Bowl, but I was watching an interview the other day, and Troy said, even with Barry Schweitzer, okay, even with them going to the Super Bowl in '95, he said he felt like the '94 Cowboys weren't as good as the '93 Cowboys. The '95 Cowboys weren't as good as the '94 Cowboys. And he said he felt like that's the way it went every year. They were getting, less and less, and then everything just fell apart. And I don't understand all the ins and outs of why. I don't know why they ever got rid of Jimmy Johnson. I don't know. Maybe Jimmy Johnson did just leave and say, I'm out here on to the next thing. I don't know. He doesn't seem like the type of guy, being so involved as he was, that he would have just left. So, I don't know. I don't know. But I think the main thing is for this year, to sum this all up, I think the main thing is Mike McCarthy. He's going to make a big difference. And I think that obviously they got to figure out this quarterback thing. I don't know. Dak's good. I have no issue. Let me get this straight. I have no issue with them re-signing Dak. Especially not after watching Mark Holmes' video where he discusses the whole thing. I just want what's best for the team. Because Cowboys fans have had a lot of disappointments for a long time now. And it's time to see something different. Okay? I don't even care if the Cowboys make it to the Super Bowl next year. Of course, we all want them to. But I'd like to at least see them make the playoffs. Maybe some championship games. I don't know. Something big. Like, make it better than 8-8. I'd take like 12-4. Like anything, I don't know. So we'll see. But I'm hoping that there's going to be big changes. And I think they know it's time to figure something out. Because obviously what they're doing isn't working. And you would have thought they would have thought of this long ago. 25 years. You'd think they'd be making some connections. What we're doing isn't working. And maybe they were. And maybe they just didn't know what to do. I mean, there again, it's easy for us to sit here and say, well, what's the issue? Because we're not involved. But it just seems like they haven't wanted it bad enough, So we'll see what happens. I mean, they've got some good players. And they've got some good coaching and good coaching staff. And I feel like this is going to be the year. And it's going to be a big year. If they can really pull everything together. And it may not be. Because you have to remember, new coaching staff, new coach. They have to pull all that together. And the players have to get used to the changes and get in the groove of things. And Jason Garrett has been there so long that some of them guys, I mean, like Witten and stuff, they've been there for forever. And all they ever knew was Jason Garrett, Dak, as a quarterback. All he ever knew was Jason Garrett. So it's going to be a big transition for everybody. But I think, like I say, even if it's not this year, I think this group is going to be the group that turns it around. And it may be a slow process, but I think you're going to see them come to the front. I think this is a bold statement, but I think next year you'll see them at least maybe 12-4. I really would like to see them 12-4. Even if that doesn't mean Super Bowl or anything like that, I'd really like to see them 12-4. I mean, how long has it been since they've been like 12-4? I don't know. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been too long. I mean, they may have been a couple of years back, but anyway, I'd like to see that at least as a somewhat of a insurance policy. You know what I mean? I'd like to see that this coaching staff can pull it together, and I'd like to see at least 12-4 that first year to show they know what they're doing. You know, I definitely think under this staff, if everybody gives it their all, I think the Cowboys have a shot at the Super Bowl. I would say they have a shot at the Super Bowl. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Cowboys fan, because honestly, the Cowboys right now are pretty bad. I mean, they're not the worst, but there's always the Vikings, right? No, they're not the worst, but they could be so much more. I mean, we've seen what they can be. So let's make a change and let's see the Cowboys of the days of old. All right, the Cowboys are long overdue for a Super Bowl win, and I'd like to see the Cowboys up there in wins with the Patriots and the Steelers, and maybe higher. Honestly, so we'll see what happens. Uh, the Chiefs are talking big smack right now. They're saying they're coming back next year. So who knows? Maybe it'll be a complete miracle and it'll be the Chiefs and the Cowboys. I mean, nobody would have said a couple years ago or even last year that the Chiefs would make the Super Bowl this year. That's that's big. I mean, I don't even believe it. So, every team has its glory time, I feel like. And it kind of runs in seasons with every team. Like the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots weren't squat before the 2000s. And then all of a sudden, ba-boom, 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 Brady just brings the whole team to a head. And it's been nothing but Super Bowl wins back to back to back, all right? Like crazy. And so I feel like no team should be counted out. That's all I'm saying. Because sooner or later, they're going to get it together. And it may only be for a season, but they're going to get it together. So, anyway. That's my thoughts on the Cowboys. It's nothing too deep or in depth, but just pointing out some simple things I've observed, and probably everybody knew it, but just talking about my passion here, and looking forward to the year to come. So we'll see what happens. Stay faithful, Cowboys fans, and you can guarantee if they make the Super Bowl next year and they win, there will be a nice Cowboys tribute on this channel. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited, and I bet you guys are excited. So let's root them together. So how about them Cowboys? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.